Hi everyone, and welcome to our card tutorial. Obviously, if you've looked through the front part of this video and you saw the card, you're going to want to make one. That's why you're here. So let's get to it. What we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of cardstock, and once again, my cardstock, all that I'm using is the same matte presentation paper that I'm printing on. It is a 44 pound or 160 GSM. I'm using that as my white cardstock as well. If you had cardstock based on the card that you were doing, you wanted to use you just had it in your stash and it was black or navy or whatever color, that's fine too. You can use whatever it is that you want because this is actually the cardstock that we're gluing to. So this piece of cardstock measures 10 inches wide and 4.5 inches tall. So we cut that out. Obviously, we want to have some score lines in order to make this is going to be our box portion. So these ones we're going to mark at 1 inch, 2.5 inches, 3.5 inches, 5 inches, 6.5, 7.5, and 9 inches. Mark it both on the top and on the bottom so that we have our, as you can see with my little lines that I've already pre-done there. We're going to do both of those. Then we're going to take, and at each and every line, we are going to use our scoring tool, right? We're going to score each of these lines here, okay? Then you will take your card and fold them over at each of those lines, at the score lines. Make nice, each individual one, okay? You do not have to do the very center one. That one does not have to be a fold over line, but each of these other ones do, okay? We then measure 1/2 inch down from the top and 1/2 inch up from the bottom, okay? Make little marks there with our pencil. And then we are going to take our X-Acto knife, because this is obviously the slot that the card slides through. And we're just going to make a small incision on, and basically using that center line that we had in there as a score line. You can use that as your kind of center line. Remember, how wide do I want this thing with my X-Acto knife or whatever? Basically, we want it wide enough because we're going to have our cardstock is going to slide through there. So you want to make sure that you have your cardstock, whatever papers you're going to glue on there, you're going to want to make sure that this is wide enough for what you're doing on this card. Basically, this was like, I made mine quite wide. I made mine 1/8 of an inch so that I did have a nice area to go through, but you don't have to make it quite that wide if you don't want to. Or if you decided to decoupage your outsides and you wanted it really wide, well, you could do that too, right? You can cut that to as wide as you want. So once we have that done and everything is scored and folded over, when you flip it over, it's maybe a little hard to see, but you can see the score lines here, okay? And this is where we're going to paste in our pattern papers. So obviously, when we choose our pattern papers, we want each of these, there's going to be the different sizes, okay? There is going to be the top of the box, which is going to have 2 of these, okay? Those pieces of paper are going to measure, let me get in front of the camera properly here, 1.25 inches by 4.25 inches, okay? So these are the ones that I've chosen for the top of the box here. This is going to be the face that we are going to see. So we want to make sure that whatever papers you choose obviously have a nice coordinated look. Whether you want to choose 2 different papers, you want to choose 2 of the same. I chose 2 of the exact same paper, just different portions of those paper. Okay? So what I mean by that is, as you'll see, here is 2 poinsettias and then one in the center. Here is 2 poinsettias on that outside. Because obviously when we fold the box up, and I'll show that to you once we fold it up here, but you're going to want, this is the top of your box that you're going to see. So make sure that when you choose those papers that you choose something that you actually, like the coordination of. Now, there is the next set of papers are these little ones that go on basically the spine or the sides of the boxes. And these guys measure 3/4 inch by 4.25 inches. And when you choose these ones, remember that when this box is folded up, instead of you seeing it this way, you're actually going to see it as a horizontal. So you're going to make sure if you choose a pattern differently than the one that I've got on here, like I chose this snowflakes one. I just happened to like the pattern of it, thought it matched well and all that stuff. Whatever you choose, you're going to want to make sure that you cut it properly when you cut it, so that you have a horizontal that you were looking at. Or in this case, that was one of my other reasons for choosing this paper, is it doesn't really matter. There's no up and there's no down and there's no horizontal, there's no nothing, because it's the snowflakes pattern, right? Okay, the last two pieces of paper are the same dimensions as the first. They are 1 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And this is going to form the actual underneath or bottom of your box. And again, I chose 2 coordinating papers. You can choose whatever it is that you decide looks best. Whatever it is that you want to choose. If you want to choose different ones, you want to put a matching, like a red and a green, or whatever you want to choose on there. That is totally up to you. And again, when you're placing them on, you want to make sure that you have everything lined up and that you have appropriately matching sides. Okay? And there we go. So there is our box done. Okay? So let's put that to the side for 1 second, and we'll get back to this piece of paper. So this is the part that is going to stand up. So this part is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2 inches. And when you do this piece, you're actually going to be doing, with your pattern papers, you're going to be doing a front, you're going to be doing a back, okay? And remember, this piece, when glued together, well, let's just glue it together and then I'll show you that part. Remember that when you glue this together and when you're choosing your papers, again, make sure you choose something that whatever is appropriate. But you have a couple of things to note. Number one, if you're going to decoupage it or have anything that is standing proud from the piece of paper, obviously you're going to have to make this slit in the box part wide enough to accommodate that so it doesn't bind. And number two, when you choose your paper, as you can see, this believe tag that I've put on here, it's kind of pushed up towards the top. And the reason for that is the last 1/2 inch of this piece of paper, that's going to get glued down, okay? And that'll be evident when we do this. But you're going to use glue on that. So you're not going to see this portion. So make sure that nothing down there, the last 1/2 inch on the bottom of both of these papers, you don't really actually see anything on there. There's nothing. It's not like you have a sentiment or something that's really important for you to see there. You want to make sure that that is available for gluing, and basically, like I said, you're not going to see that. You're going to kind of waste that area. So make sure that when you do that, that you are well aware of that. Okay. So I chose a background paper. I placed a tag. This is a tag actually pre-made in the kit. I placed that on top and printed it as 1. Now, if you're thinking, wow, how'd you do that? We do have the other videos in our how-to section on how to do that. And you can do that in Microsoft Word. You can do that in Photoshop Elements. You can do that in GIMP. You can do that in so many different programs. It's very, very easy to do, where you basically put one piece on top of the other. You print it as 1. The same thing on this side. This is one piece of paper with the ornaments and stuff. This is actually the stationery paper out of the FQB Shimmer collection. And this is a digital stamp. So again, I put the digital stamp on that, printed it, and so it looks like it's 1, but actually that is 2 separate elements. Okay, so now that we have this done and we see how this slides through nicely, okay, let's put you in frame here. We can see how that slides through very nicely. Try that out beforehand, obviously. We want to make sure that now we decide that this piece on the end, and this is why we didn't put any papers on it, we are now going to fold that over. And where's our little scoring tool? Like so, okay? And we are going to apply some glue, okay? And this is going to get glued onto here, okay? Like so. Make sure that when you glue it on, that you're gluing it on straight so it will feed straight through your slit. As you can see, I kind of was talking and not paying attention and almost made a mess out of that. Now, this one here, we're going to apply glue across everything, all the tabs, across this one. So again, you can see how we're putting glue on that last 1/2 inch. We want to make sure that this tab is nicely folded over. Okay, and let me keep you in frame here. We fold this over and glue it down. Okay, so there is our box, and there is our fold up, which folds into our box card, our stand-up box card. So as I mentioned to you earlier, let's just do that. You can see how easily this then folds back down, so you can actually have a flat card that you can then send out to someone. Now, once this is done and folded like this, now you can decoupage it. And as you probably saw in the original, I have these little tags, these little word tags that I printed off. Again, Mary Fran does all the work for us. She's got great sentiments on here. She's got great font work. So now I can put this up on foam dots or whatever I want to put it on and decoupage the outside, because nothing will bind on that. As we see how this comes together, right? As we pull this up, we can see that there's our box, okay? And there's our bottom of the box. So we can now decoupage the card and have the card look exactly as we want. So whether either side as well, and again, remember I mentioned we're gonna cut off that bottom of that. So we wanna make sure, because this is about 1 inch, we're gonna lose sorry, I said a 1/2 inch earlier. I meant 1 inch. We are going to lose 1 inch off the bottom. Make sure that when you choose that paper that you have nothing at the bottom, because we don't want to lose that 1 inch and have that cut off for you. So I hope you liked our video. I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope that you will go ahead and make one of these for Christmas this year. If you've already made your cards, I hope that this has inspired you in order to make just one more, something special for people. And before you leave, please make sure to go down in the right-hand corner, click on our our Knitwear Collections logo to be subscribed to our YouTube channel as well. Give us a thumbs up, let us know what your thoughts are. And I hope that if you do decide to create one of these, that you then go ahead and join our Knitwear Collections Neighborhood Facebook group in order to post it in there and share with us that as well, because we all can learn and gain inspiration from everyone. Thanks once again. And I hope you enjoy making this Christmas card.